what inspired you to come up with a menu as pancakes and chicken?
Inspired.
Yeah.
There was one time I went to eat in a restaurant. So I can't remember what restaurant is it. So the first time I tried a waffle with fried chicken, I was like, what a combination. So I went back home, and after some time I started craving for that particular food, Then I couldn't find the restaurant anymore. Okay, so I went to look out for the recipe and everything. I mean, I look out for the fried chicken recipe and I know how to do pancake. So I did my own combination. I was like, still came work in my mouth and like, this is good lah, chicken and pancakes. So I went for it lah.
For your pancakes are awesome.
The amount of spices I put in this chicken, the flour. There's two protein means first marination with all the spices, and then I put in buttermilk and left it aside so that it was soaked inside chicken. And then a second round of flour with all the spices. And I coat it again, then fry.
And how long do you take to prepare all this?
Let's say for a 2-person meal, it should take you about 45 minutes. A 2-person meal.
But if I ask you what is the best dish that you cook, regardless of whether it's Western or Indian, just one dish, what would it be?
Anything got to do with meat, I'm really good at it. That's my strongest.
No, but think about it. I know your story of how you started baking a suji cake, right? You suddenly wanted to do it. You asked your cousin for the recipe, and then you started. But what about cooking? I mean, how do you pick it up?
I am a so-called money's boy. I'm the one who will be helping in the kitchen a lot since I was young. So I was 10 before my sister came. So then I became more trying to help my mom more in the kitchen. She have requirements. She need that speed, that everything in order. So only I understand my mom very well. So I end up I'm the one helping her in the kitchen all the time. I'm not going to the market and everything. Meantime, I went at a certain age, about 12, I went to start working as a butcher, and then in a hawker center, just to know more. I was curious about food, so I went to work. But most of the time, I learned everything from mom. Cooking everything from mom.
So basically, your apprenticeship started when you were young.
Very young. So going to market, going to how to cook. Until I think I was 10 years old. She just need to tell me what she's cooking, and I know exactly what to buy in the market. That feel like when you are young, you get fried chicken, then you sit down, you eat fried chicken like shiok, the drumstick.
You know what I feel now? I feel like fried chicken is really good. And the best part is I got one more piece here. That kind of thought.
Alright, Sakti, now dessert time.
Hi bro, your legendary suji cake.
Okay, you've been eating my original suji cake all this while. So today I make a bit of special one, orange suji cake.
Orange?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna cut for you a piece. You try it and you tell me how it tastes like. This is in my menu all this while. Using orange zest, orange juice. So I get this a bit colouring to show it's orange. So
oh, nice.
So it's actually, the cake is very moist. You should try it. This is for you. And one for me.
Well, I'm really amazed by the...
A lot of people thought this is not cooked. So they're like, hey, how come it looks so weird? I say it's cooked, but it's because of moisture level. Because it's suji cake, right? It retains the moisture.
The orange is not like overpowering. I can still taste the suji cake. And then, the orange actually comes in more like a secondary blend, give that. Really good.
You can see the zest, the orange zest.
Yeah, and there's this refreshing orange taste, right?
How's the cake?
It's really good. Bro,
You don't have to impress me anymore.
no, bro. The cake is really good. I very rarely eat anything that has fruits in cakes and in desserts usually. Why? Because but today I think I went. You taught me a very good lesson. That chicken with pancakes and then suji cake with orange. It's
So
really
I push you to
another level of
out of your comfortable zone, comfort zone.
out of comfort zone.
So I want to ask you a very curious question. Why from SCF to what you're doing right now?
I'll just give you a short history, a very fast one. Why I ended up in the army first.
Okay.
Right? Father, typical father, only talks to me when he needs to. So he told me that I'm a borderline son. In terms of grades in school, he knows that I will never be a doctor and lawyer. In terms of being a, I will say in terms of being a next Sundram or Fandi in sports, no way. And then in terms of so I think he told me that the best place to be is for me to join the army and defend the borderline of Singapore. So I think that's where I realized, why not army, right? I mean, those days army was not like a career that everybody looked forward to.
Yep.
But when I went in there, I realized that it was something that I really loved, challenging myself, doing things that I never thought I could. And the fact that my father called me a borderline son made me want to prove him that, hey, no, I'm not borderline, right? But I think after some time, it was not about him. It was about telling myself, can I push myself to the next level? Can I do things differently? Like what you told just now, right? Getting myself out of the comfort zone. Or even being comfortable in uncomfortable zone. So that's how I started there. So I was there for about 12 years. And along these days, trying to prove myself that I'm not borderline, I went through, become a ranger, I was in commandos, I did all confident courses to remind myself I'm not borderline. But along the way, then I realized that it's not about being borderline, but I think it's about this urge to always do things better, doing it better, right? It's something that we both have in common, I realize. No matter how good is it, it's about how can I do it better, right? So I think that's what happened in army. But I think in army, there's one point of time when I realized that I played more than just being a son. I was married, 12 years in the army. I had a kid. So then the question was, can I do, it was aspiration, right? Asking myself halfway through. Either I stay in the army all the way, or I decide to, move on and live and try to at least live my passion. So that's why I realized I wanted to be a speaker, I wanted to make a difference to people. And so I'm one of those very few who didn't have anything against the army. I love the army, thanks to whatever I've got my foundation. I decided to leave army because I aspired to start something on my own. I mean, a lot of people ask me, it's like, hey, why would you want to do that? Even today, my mom will ask me, it's like, Sakti, why? But I just told her that, it's being happy, right? Doing things that we want to do.
Did you fall into a situation where, and you regret, hey, this period of time, I regret why I came out from this job, from being in the army?
Actually, interestingly, I realized that people tend to regret things that they have never done before, not what they have done. So I realized I was on the first part, right? It's like, I never regretted leaving the army. In fact, I would have regretted if I had not left. That was my mindset. So it's like, I wanted to do something, and that's it, right? And knowing myself, I think, I always believe that, the moment my instincts say, this is it, go for it, I got to go for it. If not, that will be the cause of regret for me. So, but yes, along the way, are there times where I ask myself, what are you doing this for? Why you want to go through all these difficulties, starting from ground zero? These questions have come up a lot of times. I think we are human beings, right? Or, you feel that, hey, there's something bigger for me out there. I'm willing to do something different because I am different myself. I have much more value to give. So I think once you believe that, right, and like what we say, you just want to do things differently. And what made it even more better was, what if I do things that make a difference to people, make an impact to people, either, whether it's business perspective, whether it's personal growth, anything. So I think that's what made me feel excited. So I wanted to make sure that whatever industry I went, as an entrepreneur, right, it must always be making a difference to people. Either way, whether it's financial matters, whether it's training them, developing them, anything. So I think that excited me, right? So when the challenges, and the truth is this, when you give, the law of nature is awesome. It will give. So, and it's may sound a bit cliche, but that's the reality. The more I did out of passion, the more I started receiving opportunities, the more I started receiving remunerations for whatever I was doing. And it got better and better. So I think that excited me more.
Tell me your relationship with your father, and how did he impact you?
Okay, my father's, he was an ex-national player. So I grew up in Roberts Lane, right? It's Racecourse Road, very close to the Farrer Park football field.
Okay.
So that was the days when I was walking around and I know the big names like Dola Kasim, Rajagopal, are walking around me and I don't even know they are like legends. And I'm walking around, I'm like 3-4 years old, So my father used to be in Farrer Park every weekend and I'm sitting down there kicking ball and just looking at these players. During my walks back, right, he used to talk to me a lot of things. And he likes to tell a lot of stories, his personal stories. So I realized that I learned a lot of values from him. And as he walked, right, a lot of times I think he will be like, I see him helping people, hey, are you okay? Simple questions like, hey, how's your work and everything. So I realized that sometimes asking simple things and how people are doing, right, made a difference to them. So, and when I grew up a bit more and I was walking around, some of these neighbors also told me, hey, your father helped in this way, you should be very grateful and everything. So I realized, it's about making a difference to people. So I think that impacted me a lot. Though my father always was quite so-called strict to me. 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with cancer, he passed away. So a couple of years back, right, before he passed away, we had a celebration, I had a chat with him. We became more friends. When I got married, I got kids, he was like much more closer. So I asked him, why did you call me a borderline? Then he will always smile and say, one day you will know. Then that a few years before he passed away, I asked him, hey, why did you call me a borderline? Then he said, in life, right, different folks needs different strokes. So I realized that by telling you to do something, to scold you or to discipline you will not work.
It's a disaster thing to feel I stopped.
Yeah.
I want to be there, still growing, still learning. I think learning is what the struggle is. Able to learn, able to explore, able to learn new stuff and make changes to ourselves.
Today is an example, right? COVID, it's no more about new normal. It's about what's the next normal going to be like. Because that's how fast things are changing. So I think I used to use this term a lot. I think thankful that being a ranger, I think it taught me. I think a lot of these skill sets are actually the experiences we have, right? I call this a speed adaptability. The faster you can adapt to change and move on, you have a competitive edge in anything you do.
How fast you adapt to changes, that's how fast you actually recover.
Yeah.
Right.
And you keep moving, right? So that is something that I keep close. And I think, as I said, now is the best time to really see that those, there are a lot of business who are adapting and everything, but now that's the thing, everybody starts from ground zero, you move up, and then when it happens again, you are down again, but this time you have this skill set, hey, I'm able to adapt.
So I heard you're actually writing a book. So can you tell me what it's a book about?
Yeah, many years ago, being an author was like, wow, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I always thought, how do these people have all this inspiration to write? And a couple of years back, I realized, why not? I can write my own book because we have the stories to share. So I decided to write a book. Initially, it took me quite some time because a book is never ready to be out, right? It always can be better. I think that's a problem by itself for me. I always feel it can be better than what it was, right? So then I decided, let's put a timeline. So I targeted, okay, let's put it out in October this year. And now the book's title is actually Rise Above Mediocrity, what I've been talking to you earlier. It is about everyone have a choice to do that, so long as they are willing to face the consequence and then they are willing to do or take on the commitment that they have. So I think that's where the book is. But it is not like an autobiography of me, but it is more towards, look, this is what, there'll be a bit of storytelling in terms of my experience, but the learning lessons that I had, like the importance of investing in yourself, the importance of why you need to manage activities rather than time. So it's technical skill set that people can pick up and apply that has worked for me and many others that I've worked with. So there'll be a couple of books coming out as it goes. But I guess as I get better, there'll be more books coming. I think that's the whole idea. Make it better.
So when are you going to launch this book?
As in where?
Yeah. When and where?
Right. So it's in October. Definitely, I'm going to start. But the good thing is that recently, because COVID-19 allowed all of us to be just talking about Singapore market. Globalization is just over a Zoom or on social media platforms. So I look at it now, there are people out there, because when I'm doing training for quite a lot of companies overseas and everything, they are looking forward for the book. So I'm going to, of course, the base is always Singapore, but I believe that there is a market for this book all across. So The whole idea is reach out to as many people where you can make a difference to them. So I think that's the key focus.
Amazing.